The Trump administration's executive actions related to border security and immigration are already having ripple effects across southern New Mexico. Between the threat of ICE raids and changes in federal immigration enforcement, there's uncertainty across churches, school districts, nonprofits, and refugee services alike. Jesus Osuna is a refugee from Venezuela. His family is among some of the last migrants to be processed into the United States using the CPB-1 app, a program shut down by the current Trump administration, originally created by the Biden administration to allow migrants to secure appointments with border officials at legal points of entry. Osuna said he was facing extortion in his home country and decided to flee the government corruption and gang violence of Venezuela with his wife and 3 children. He eventually had to cross the Darien Gap, facing hostility throughout the trip, with his family even being held at gunpoint during the journey.
Because of the rain, there were a lot of people who drowned in the river. The force of the river took them. Another thing we saw were robberies and assaults. The situation is that they try to rob you, but if you resist, they will kill you.
Osuna and his family are amongst the last guests staying at the Border Servant Corps shelter in Las Cruces. Osuna said he feels the anxiety surrounding migrant communities in the United States, but despite the uncertainty, he hopes to make his way to the Midwest to find stability for his wife and his children.
We want to demonstrate that we can do things right, that we will follow the customs and the laws, and demonstrate that we really are here to work to find a better future for us and our children. We will study. We will work, pay our taxes, and do everything correctly.
According to the Border Servant Corps, the organization has provided services to over 150,000 migrants released from the Department of Homeland Security since the fall of 2021. But the halls are virtually empty now. Kyle Boyd is the deputy director of the organization and said that having infrastructure in place for incoming migrants is essential to keeping the burden off local borderland communities.
If organizations like us go away, then everybody's going to have to figure out where they're going to get all of these different components. Situations change, policies change, even such things as natural disasters change. You know, hurricanes can drive migration, and all kinds of different things can drive migration. So knowing that, our objective is to stand ready for when we're needed again, because we do expect to be needed again.
Above all else, Boyd says he hopes the community can view migration from a humanitarian angle.
All of the guests that we've worked with, whether they're coming from a port of entry or coming from Border Patrol, have gone through the Homeland Security vetting process. And Homeland Security has deemed them eligible to be released into the United States. Those that they deem unreleasable are then referred over to ICE for whatever process goes on their side. We would encourage people to step back from all of the rhetoric and realize that whether it's a migrant who's coming here from Venezuela or somebody in the United States fleeing a hurricane in Louisiana, these are just humans that are asking for our help.
The anxiety of expanded federal crackdowns on immigration extends beyond shelters. LCPS Superintendent Ignacio Ruiz penned a letter to the community in response to executive changes that would allow federal agents to arrest individuals without legal status in sensitive areas, including schools. The letter assured the community that all children are welcome in public schools regardless of their legal status. Areas of worship are also preparing for changes in federal law. Joseph Bach is a friar at the Holy Cross Retreat Center. The center has historically opened its doors to refugees, and Brother Bach says he's been in communication with school and church leaders about the potential of ICE raids in sensitive areas.
So if someone does have a warrant with an individual's name on it, that's one situation. If they are just coming in and wanting to search through the property and go into different rooms and go into different parts of the building, then that is not acceptable or okay.
Bach said that beyond immigration policy, he hopes that the federal government takes a closer look at the root causes of migration, and rather than political infighting, focuses on policies that preserve the dignity of individuals.
The church, a school, a hospital, a place where people receive health care should be a place where people feel safe and where they feel like they can go, to have their needs taken care of. And at the end of the day, we need to look at all as made in the image of God, our Creator, and to embrace them and to make sure that at all costs, their value, dignity, and worth is protected.
As federal policy shifts, organizations across southern New Mexico are anxiously waiting to see how ripple effects of immigration crackdowns may change the dynamics of community life, from public schools to private worship. For KRWG Public Media, I'm Johnny Coker.